Welcome to The Real Debrief, the show where we dive deep into the world of film production, exploring the genres you love, the projects making waves, and the trends shaping the industry. We're here to give you a 360-degree review for entertainment professionals. So grab your popcorn and get ready for some expert insights. And, well, the occasional bed joke from Talen. It's The Real Debrief. Now your hosts, Talen and Lisa.
Welcome back, dear listener, to another fabulous episode of the show that gives you all the drama, wit, and the chaos you didn't know you needed. I'm Talen, and as always, I'm here with my brilliant and undeniably fashionable co-host, Lisa. How are you today, Lisa?
Oh, Talen, stop it. You're making me blush. Well, as much as one can over audio. I'm great. Feeling extra dramatic today because we're diving into a show that's all about drama, and not just any drama. The high-stakes world of fashion and family feuds. It's time to talk La Maison.
Oh, yes, La Maison. Think Succession, but with more silk scarves, sharper cheekbones, and a lot more backstabbing with stilettos. We're going to dissect this Apple TV Plus drama, break it down piece by piece, and try to figure out if it's as fabulous as its wardrobe, or if it's just another stitch in a very overdone fabric. Spoiler alert, there's a lot to talk about.
A lot. And not just about the fashion, though. Let's be honest, the clothes alone are worth a discussion. But first, Talen, let's get into the basics for those who haven't yet caught up with La Maison. Though, I'd be shocked if anyone listening to us hasn't at least heard of it.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so, for our listeners who might be new to the world of La Maison, here's a quick summary. The show follows the Ledu family, owners of a century-old Parisian fashion house, as they try to navigate one massive crisis after another. And it all kicks off with Vincent Ledu, played by the eternally cool Lambert Wilson, making a total mess of a business deal with a wealthy Korean bride, leading to a scandal that threatens the entire family business. Classy move, Vincent.
Vincent is your textbook graying fashion god, except, plot twist, he's no longer as golden as he thinks. His business is crumbling, his charm is slipping, and he's got a family full of people who are more than happy to knife him in the back the second he lets its guard down. Honestly, if you thought Succession was a brutal family drama, La Maison takes that to the runway and adds some killer heels.
Oh, definitely. And we can't forget that Vincent has exiled his brother Victor because apparently sibling rivalry wasn't messy enough already, but it gets better. This whole thing really explodes when a video goes viral of Vincent calling his difficult client and her entourage dog-eating plebes. Cue the PR crisis of the century.
Honestly, you can just hear the PR team sighing as they roll out the damage control. And of course, Vincent, being Vincent, handles it with all the grace of a toddler who's been denied candy. His apology? Scripted. His family? Furious. His company? Hanging by a thread. It's almost Shakespearean, but like in a Chanel suit.
Exactly. It's like someone took King Lear, threw in a Parisian fashion house, and replaced all the courtiers with social media influencers. And speaking of family, let's talk about the absolute gem that is Robinson. The nephew no one wants but everyone has to deal with, played by Anton Reinhardt's. Robinson's got this princeling at the altar vibe that is just so deliciously unbearable.
Yes, Robinson is one of those characters who makes you cringe, but you also can't help but love every scene he's in. He's spoiled, he's petty, and he refuses to call one of his subordinates by her actual name because, get this, he won't utter the name of a rival fashion brand. That's the level of petty we're dealing with here.
Oh, he's the epitome of entitled chaos. And the thing is, even though Robinson is probably the least competent member of the Ledu dynasty, he's somehow convinced that he should be the heir to the throne. I mean, it's that delicious mix of delusion and entitlement that makes him such a standout character.
Oh, for sure. And what I love about La Maison is that, despite all the backstabbing and the high-stakes business drama, the show never takes itself too seriously. There's this undercurrent of campiness and self-importance that's just so fun to watch. Like, at one point, Robinson compares his plight to that of Diana, Fergie, and Megan, calling them my girls. It's just mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I know. And that's what sets La Maison apart from other high-stakes dramas. It knows it's a soap opera and it leans into that. I mean, it's not trying to be some deep meditation on power and corruption. It's here for the tea, the shade, and the spectacle. And let's not forget the fashion, right? I mean, Lisa, can we just take a moment, and I know you want to appreciate how visually stunning this show is?
Oh my God, yes! The budget for this show must be astronomical, because every scene is like a fashion editorial come to life. The Swiss mountainside, the private island, the Parisian ateliers. It's so opulent, so over the top. And the clothes, don't even get me started. If I could live in this world, I'd be wearing silk scarves and designer sunglasses all day long.
Well, same, honestly. I'd give up my entire wardrobe just to spend a day in the Ledu fashion house. But while we're on the topic of opulence, let's talk about the power struggle at the heart of La Maison. On one side, we've got Vincent trying to hold on to his fading empire, and on the other hand, we have Diane Rovel, the wealthiest woman in Europe, and the owner of a luxury conglomerate that's been eyeing the Ledu brand for years.
Diane. She's like the tiger mom of luxury fashion, played by the incredible Carol Bouquet. Diane is always scheming, always plotting, and always draped in the heaviest gold jewelry you've ever seen. She's been after the Ledu brand for decades, and now that Vincent's on the ropes, she's ready to pounce. But don't mistake her for a one-dimensional villain. Diane's got layers, and she's more than happy to pit her own family members against each other to get what she wants.
Oh, yeah, she absolutely is. Diane is ruthless, but you almost have to respect her hustle, you know? She's built this massive empire, and she's not about to let a bunch of fashion house aristocrats stand in her way. And what makes her so compelling is that she's not just battling Vincent, she's also got her own daughter to deal with. I mean, talk about family dysfunction on a global scale.
Yes, Diane's daughter is a fascinating character. She's always trying to live up to her mother's impossible expectations, but Diane just keeps pushing her harder and harder. It's brutal, but it makes for some seriously juicy drama. And what's so interesting about La Maison is that it's not just about one dysfunctional family, it's about two. You've got the Ledus on one side and Diane's clan on the other, and they're both fighting tooth and nail for control.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a high-fashion version of Game of Thrones, minus the dragons, but with way better outfits, honestly. And what I love is that every character has their own agenda. No one is just along for the ride. Even the minor characters are constantly scheming and plotting. It's like a masterclass in manipulation.
And can we talk about Paloma Castel for a second? She's such a wild card in this whole thing. She's an up-and-coming designer who gets pulled into the Ledu family drama because, wait for it, she's the daughter of Vincent's long-lost love. And she's also biracial, an activist, and basically the embodiment of everything the Ledu brand needs to stay relevant in today's world.
Paloma is such an interesting character because she's both the Ledu family's greatest hope and also, at the same time, the biggest threat. On one hand, she's exactly what the brand needs to survive in the modern world. She's fresh, she's bold, and she's got that woke factor that Vincent is constantly rolling his eyes at. But, on the other hand, she's a total outsider. She doesn't come from this world, and that makes her dangerous.
Exactly, and what's so fascinating about Paloma is that she's not just a character who's there to shake things up. She's also a mirror for the fashion industry as a whole. The show uses her to explore all these big issues like diversity, sustainability, and cancel culture. It's a lot, but somehow it works.
Oh, for sure. Paloma represents this shift in the fashion world, where traditional luxury houses are being forced to adapt or die. And let me tell you, La Maison does not shy away from showing just how resistant these old-school fashion elites are to change. Vincent, for example, is stuck in his ways. He thinks he can just wait out the woke moment and then retake the throne once things blow over. But Paloma, she's the future, whether Vincent likes it or not.
Exactly. And you can feel the tension whenever Vincent and Paloma are in the same room. He knows that his time is running out, but he's still trying to maintain control. Meanwhile, Paloma's out there designing handbags with ethical standards that leave everyone else looking like they're stuck in the past. She's everything the industry says it wants, but her mere existence puts pressure on the entire Ledu family to evolve or get left behind.
Speaking of handbags, that moment when Paloma debuts her first handbag for Ledu, talk about a metaphor for the entire fashion industry's identity crisis. She's bringing these high ethical standards, but instead of being celebrated, she faces harsher scrutiny. It's like the show is saying, sure, the industry talks about progress, but it's still a Shark Tank at the end of the day.
Yes, and you can't help but notice how La Maison plays with this idea of the fashion industry cannibalizing itself. On the one hand, everyone's screaming for diversity and sustainability, but on the other hand, as soon as someone actually delivers on those ideals, the industry starts to eat them alive. I mean, look at how Vincent reacts to Paloma. Instead of embracing the new era she represents, he's more concerned about waiting out the outrage cycle so he can get back to business as usual.
Oh, Vincent is all about that strategy. He's like, let this woke storm pass and then I'll be back on top. And it's obvious he sees Paloma as a short-term fix, not a long-term solution. I mean, the irony is, she's the only person who could potentially save the brand, but he's too blinded by his own ego to see it.
Exactly. And that's where the brilliance of La Maison comes through. It's not just a drama about a fashion house in crisis. It's a commentary on the broader industry and how it deals with, or doesn't deal with, change. And let's be real, the fashion industry has a long history of being slow to adapt to anything that changes its traditions.
Oh, totally. I mean, look at how Vincent and his second-in-command, Pearl, interact. Pearl, played by the ever-stylish Amira Kassar, is all about pragmatism. She's like, we need Paloma to stay afloat. And Vincent is still clutching his funeral shroud black gowns like they're his last lifeline. It's almost tragic if it weren't so hilariously out of touch.
And the way Vincent clings to his old designs? Oh, those black gowns, they've become Ledu's signature, but let's be honest, they're starting to look more like a symbol of the brand's impending death than a mark of timeless elegance.
Oh, I mean, they're practically funeral attire at this point, which is kind of fitting, because La Maison makes it clear that the old Ledu brand is on life support. If Vincent doesn't figure out how to evolve, the house will go down with him. And Paloma, she's the one standing at the crossroads, holding the future in her hands.
And what a crossroads it is. Paloma's designs are bold, they're modern, but they're also controversial. Not because they're ugly, far from it, but because they challenge what luxury fashion has traditionally stood for. I mean, her pants are literally sewn together from scraps of other pants. It's a metaphor for the entire show, really. This patchwork of old and new, stitched together in ways that are sometimes awkward and sometimes brilliant.
That is such a great point. Paloma's whole design philosophy feels like a rejection of everything Vincent stands for. But at the same time, it's exactly what the Ledu brand needs if it's going to survive. It's this constant push and pull between the past and the future, and you can feel the tension mounting with every episode.
And let's not forget, Paloma isn't just in this for the clothes. She's also there to learn about her father, the love of Vincent's life, who died when she was 2. There's this whole underlying personal story that adds so many layers to the drama. She's not just a designer trying to make a name for herself, she's trying to uncover the truth about her past while navigating the minefield that is the Ledu family.
It's so juicy. The personal stakes are just as high as the business ones. And of course, Vincent is torn because Paloma represents the future of the brand, but she also reminds him of a past that he's tried to bury. The whole dynamic is this fascinating cocktail of guilt, ambition, and denial.
And that's what makes the show so addictive. Every character has their own motivations, their own baggage, and they're all playing their own little game. No one is innocent here, and everyone has something to lose. It's like watching a beautifully choreographed dance where everyone's trying to trip each other up without falling themselves.
Absolutely. And that's not just the Ledu family that's caught up in this power struggle. Diane Rovel, the luxury tycoon we mentioned earlier, is a force to be reckoned with. She's spent decades trying to acquire the Ledu brand, and now she's closer than ever to making it happen. But the thing is, Diane isn't just some evil corporate villain. She's got her own complex backstory, and she's a fascinating character in her own right.
Oh, Diane is something else. She's like a cross between Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada and Cersei Lannister. Ruthless, powerful, and always 3 steps ahead of everyone else. But what makes her so compelling is that she's not just in it for the money. She's genuinely obsessed with adding the Ledu brand to her empire. It's personal for her, and that makes her even more dangerous.
Oh yeah, Diane's not just after a business deal, she's after a legacy. And she's willing to do whatever it takes to get it too, even if it means pitting her own family members against each other. It's fascinating to watch her maneuver through this world. And Carol Bouquet plays her with such icy precision. You can tell that underneath all the power and wealth, there's this simmering resentment that drives her every move.
Totally. And what's interesting is how Diane contrasts with Vincent. While Vincent is desperately trying to hold on to his legacy, Diane is actively shaping hers. She's not afraid of change. She embraces it. And that's why she's been so successful. But at the same time, she's also stuck in her own way, constantly disappointed by those around her who can't live up to her expectations.
And that brings us to Diane's daughter, who is constantly trying to prove herself but can never quite measure up in her mother's eyes. It's such a fascinating dynamic because while Vincent is busy stunting Robinson's growth, Diane is doing the exact opposite, pushing her daughter so hard that it's almost cruel. It's like both families are trapped in this cycle of dysfunction and no one can break free.
That's the beauty of La Maison. It's a soap opera, yes, but it's also a deep dive into family dynamics, power, and ambition. Everyone's fighting for control, whether it's over the family business, their personal legacy, or their own identity. And in the end, it's not just about who runs the Ledu fashion house, it's about who survives the cutthroat world of high fashion without losing themselves in the process.
Exactly. It's like a chess game where every move has consequences and every character is playing for keeps. And just when you think you know who's going to come out on top, the game shifts. It's brilliant.
Brilliant and deliciously addictive. I mean, how could you not want to watch a show where characters casually drop lines like, Ledu just pulled a Galliano, or I refuse to utter the name of a rival brand? The shade is real, people.
The shade is so real. And the best part is, even though the show is dripping with melodrama, it never loses its sense of fun. It knows exactly what it is, a glamorous, bitchy, backstabby soap opera set in the world of high fashion. And honestly, that's all we really need it to be.
Exactly. La Maison isn't trying to be some deep philosophical exploration of the human condition. It's here to entertain, and it does that beautifully. The clothes, the drama, the over-the-top characters, it's all so indulgent, and I am here for it.
Same. I mean, sometimes you just need a show that lets you escape into a world of luxury and dysfunction. And La Maison delivers on that front. So, if you haven't watched it yet, what are you waiting for? Go binge it and then come back and join us for a deep dive into all the messy, fabulous details. Trust me, you're going to have opinions, and we'll be ready to hear them.
Oh, we'll definitely want to hear your takes, because if there's one thing La Maison is good at, it's sparking conversation. Who's your favorite character? Who do you love to hate? And more importantly, whose outfits are you ready to steal? Because let's be honest, half the fun of this show is the fashion inspo.
If I could rock even half of what they're wearing, I'd be unstoppable. But seriously, that's what makes this show so brilliant. It's not just about the plot twists and backstabbing. It's about letting us live vicariously through these ultra-glamorous, ultra-dramatic lives. Even if, at the end of the day, we're sitting at home in our sweats, they're up there on the screen living like they're in a Vogue spread.
Exactly. And that's why La Maison works. It's indulgent, it's over the top, and it's just so fun to watch. And with all the family drama, the high-stakes business deals, and the power struggles, it's a show that gives you something to chew on long after the credits roll.
And folks, that is why we're obsessed. There's nothing quite like watching a bunch of ultra-rich, ultra-privileged people tearing each other apart in designer clothes. It's cathartic, it's ridiculous, and it's everything you need to unwind after a long day.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, I think we've covered just about every aspect of La Maison. From the family drama to the fashion to the delicious dysfunction that keeps us coming back for more.
Yep, I think we've done the Ledu family justice. Well, as much as they deserve, anyway. But before we wrap things up, we want to hear from all of you. If you've been watching La Maison, hit us up on social media or drop us a comment and let us know what you think. Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite outfit? And of course, most importantly, do you think Vincent can actually save the Ledu brand, or is he doomed to watch it crumble?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm personally betting on chaos. This family has too much dysfunction for a clean resolution, but I'm here for the ride wherever it takes us.
Same. So, everyone, make sure to tune in next time because we will be diving into another fantastic show that's taking over our screens. But until then, stay fashionable, stay dramatic, and remember, if you're going to stab someone in the back, do it in a designer suit.
You heard him. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Take care, folks, and remember, fashion may fade, but drama is forever.
This has been The Real Debrief. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, like, rate, and review. We'll see you soon on The Real Debrief.